We start in Washington, where the votes on Donald Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill are in. And it passed. Barely. The U.S. House of Representatives approved the sweeping legislation by just 4 votes. Now the bill goes to Donald Trump's desk, where he will sign it into law. And the CBC's Hillary Johnstone joins me now. So, Hillary, what is the latest?
Well, the final vote there, Andrew, was 218 to 214. The Republicans here could only afford to lose 3 of their own if everyone voted along party lines. In the end, they lost 2 votes. So 2 Republicans voting against this. We'll speak a little bit more on them in just a few moments. But this is Donald Trump's first major legislative win of his second term. This is a huge package worth some $3.4 trillion. It increases things like defense spending, more funding for the border wall, more funding for ICE. It also does things, though, like cutting some of those social programs, those social safety nets, including Medicaid and SNAP, which is a way that millions of Americans receive food assistance. So if we take a little bit of a closer look at some of what this does, I mentioned some of the impacts on defense spending and things like that, but it also cements in place some of Donald Trump's tax cuts from his first term. In 2017, massive tax cuts had been passed. Those were all set to expire, though, a little bit later on this year in 2025. Now that this bill has passed, it will make those tax cuts permanent. There are also fears about what this bill might do to the national debt, and it is projected by the Congressional Budget Office, which is a nonpartisan agency, that it will increase the U.S. debt by $3.3 trillion, $3.3 trillion over the next 10 years. So concerns about that as well. The Democrats have been uniformly opposed to this. We heard, of course, and we've been showing throughout the day, the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, with that marathon speech on the House floor, breaking a record. He spoke for some 8 hours and 45 minutes. We do have a little bit more here of what he has said in relation to this bill.
This bill represents the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. It will devastate vulnerable populations all across America. We stand in strong opposition to Donald Trump's one big ugly bill.
So the House Minority Leader, the Democrats, not happy about this. On the other side, though, we have the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who I believe is speaking right now. We can show you a little bit of what's happening currently. By his own admission, Andrew, he has not slept in more than 24 hours. He has been working very hard in recent days, trying to pull all of those Republicans on side, along with the Senate leader as well, John Thune, been trying to convince those Republicans to come in line. We know that Donald Trump had set this deadline of tomorrow, Independence Day, the 4th of July, wanting to get this done and passed. Now that it has, it will go to his desk for him to sign. But Mike Johnson, who you're looking at right now, of course, very, very happy. Andrew, when it passed, when those final votes came in, there were chants of USA from the House floor, those Republicans expressing their delight that Donald Trump and the Republicans have this legislative win.
But as you mentioned, as you've alluded to, the process of getting this passed exposed some deep divisions within the Republican Party. There are those that are concerned about the midterms.
That's right. The midterms coming up in 2026. We have heard from both Republican House members and Republican senators about the parts of this bill that they were not happy with. So this passed the House back, or pardon me, passed the Senate back on Tuesday. Now it has come back to the House. Some of those Republican senators have expressed some of their displeasure at the bill. But if we take a look at the 2 Republican House members who voted against this today, that would be Thomas Massie of Kentucky and also Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania. Thomas Massie of Kentucky is a fiscal hawk who strongly opposes what this bill will do to the U.S. national debt over the next decade. That representative, the Republican from Pennsylvania, is from a district that Kamala Harris won in the most recent presidential elections back in November of 2024. So very much a battleground district that he represents right now as we head into those midterms coming up in 2026. He has been opposed to this. They needed, like I said there a few moments ago, they couldn't stand to lose more than 3 Republican members if they were going to get this across the finish line. In the end, there were 2 there, but certainly some of those divisions between the parts of the party that are more concerned about the deficit, about the debt, not happy of this. When you compare that with some of those members of the Republican Party who really fall in line behind what Donald Trump, what the U.S. president wants, they have been outspoken trying to tell their fellow colleagues that they want this bill to pass. So lots to be looking at going forward. And as we're just watching here, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, signing papers here, it looks like, just moments, of course, after that bill has passed the House.
And then it looks like Donald Trump will sign it into law tomorrow, which is the 4th of July.
There we go, the 4th of July, and that was the deadline he'd set.
Yep. Hillary Johnstone, thank you.
Thank you.
Rick Wilson is a Republican political strategist. He also is the co-founder of a political action committee called the Lincoln Project. I asked him how this bill will impact many average Americans.
Folks at the lowest end of the spectrum in America who cannot afford health care otherwise are on Medicaid. They tend to also be people with disabilities. They tend to be indigent seniors and poor seniors. And those folks are going to take $1 trillion haircut. And they're going to take $1 trillion cut in their benefits. They're going to take $1 trillion cut, which is going to lead to millions of American seniors being thrown out of nursing homes, which Medicaid pays for now. Millions of American seniors moving back in with their children, their adult children. Millions of American seniors losing services like in-home nursing care, dialysis, and cancer treatment. This is a absolutely savage social engineering experiment that I think is going to have terrible moral and political costs in this country.
How in the world would anyone, Donald Trump, how would he put forward a bill like this that would hurt so many vulnerable people like that, many of whom very well could have voted for him?
Look, he does not care. He really does not. He cares about a tax cut for the billionaire allies who helped fund his campaign. Mm-hmm. He cares about the stuff that's below the radar screen right now in this bill, the cryptocurrency stuff, the Project 2025, implementation language. He cares about those things. Donald Trump does not really, it doesn't weigh into his calculus how this is going to hurt folks on the lower end of the economic spectrum. He said repeatedly, we're never going to touch Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security. That was a promise that we knew from our polling had been very effective for him when he made it in 2016 and in 2020 and again in 2024. But this bill is $1 trillion cut to Medicaid and Medicare, as well as other benefit programs that a lot of folks in red state use. Food stamps. The whole food assistance program is going to be basically really a strong hit in red states because there are a lot of people there. As even Trump's former strategist, Steve Bannon, said, these are our people that we're hurting. So you've got a real tight situation for Republicans right now. They have bitten off a big poison pill. Mm-hmm. And whether they like it or not publicly, they're taking that poison pill on Donald Trump's orders.
And this could be, I mean, how damaging do you think this could be to their electoral prospects in the midterms?
We believe right now that our current model showed there were initially about 20 seats in play for the House. We now believe that number is probably around 30 to 35 seats in the House as of today, because this bill is so wildly unpopular even before its damage has started to hit people, and a couple of seats now that are becoming more viable in the U.S. Senate. We're really, I think, going to be in a position where, as this bill rolls out, as the damage of Trump's trade war becomes much more evident to the American people, they're going to realize they're paying for it. And as the pain this bill causes joins with the recession that all the economic forecasters see coming in the spring of next year, this could wind up being a kind of perfect political storm. We'll see. It's a long way between now and November of 2026, but there are a lot of factors in this at the moment that are increasingly looking like they've made a very terrible strategic error.
Rick Wilson is a veteran Republican political strategist. He's also the co-founder of the Lincoln Project.